There are some ground rules to be followed by all participants during this webinar. Are displayed on the screen as well as I shared with all the members. I request all kindly follow these instructions. All participants are requested to mute their audio. Members, please join by their name as membership number _ their name. We are sure that this webinar will be highly beneficial for the participants in their professional endeavors in getting a better understanding about establishing startup in Qatar, success story of some startups, and tips for thriving the startup. Let me introduce you a man who always keeps smiling. He is ever charming, energetic, and helpful person, under whose guidance and leadership the chapter is climbing to its heights. He is none other than our chairperson, C.A. Nirla Bhatt. Over to C.A. Nirla Bhatt. Take the session forward.
His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to the State of Qatar, CA Niyar Jambusaria sir, Honorable President of ICI would soon be joining us. CA Dheeraj Khandelwal, Central Council Member and Chairman of MSME and Startup Committee of ICI, current and future sponsors, esteemed speakers, and my dear members, a warm good evening to all of you. With an immense pleasure, I welcome all of you to this one of its kind thematic events of the term. From buzzwords, MSME and startups are becoming backbone of the economy. In an era when economies and enterprises demand innovation, diversification, and research, startups can become a vehicle to spur growth, generate employment, and channelize the liquidity. And friends, all these are all the more important when businesses are hit by COVID-19. This event is an attempt to bring together highly successful CAs, entrepreneurs, founders, investors, and professionals on one forum. The objective is not only to raise the awareness about startup and related issues, but also encourage an entrepreneurial fervor amongst the members and community at large. The success and sustainability of startup depends on how effectively an idea passes through imagination, innovation, and finally results into an invention. We are grateful to the event sponsor Solution ERP WLL for their generous support. In excess of 200 plus members have registered for the event, and we are thankful to each and every member for such an overwhelming response. We also welcome and thank the attendees who are watching us live on YouTube from different corners of the world. Let's have an enriching and exciting learning experience from the luminaries. Our first speaker in this inaugural session is CA Dheeraj Khandelwal. Now we have amongst us CA Dheeraj Khandelwal, Central Council Member of ICI and Chairman of very important and newly constituted Committee on Micro SME and Startup. I would say that he has given me an idea and inspiration to organize an event on such a large scale, because in the past he has successfully organized such kind of event a couple of times on a much bigger scale, where 10,000 chartered accountants, entrepreneurs, fundraisers have attended this event. And he's one of the most sought after speakers on any event when it pertains to the startup. Of course, he's an entrepreneur, startup mentor, and professional of a great repute. Dheeraj sir, a warm welcome to you virtually to Qatar, and over to you. Screen is all yours, sir.
Thank you very much, the chairman of this entire Doha chapter, Lily Bhatt, and His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal ji, my president in absentia, Niyar Jambusaria ji, and Sheikh Ahmed Abdullah Al Khani ji is going to be speak, and Sriji also going to speak. All the managing committee member of this entire Doha chapter. I think it's a wonderful initiative taken by the Doha chapter for organizing such a great event on the startup. As rightly said by the Nidli, that it's a amazing concept, and in India, the startup, not in India, it's entire world is working on the startup area. And the startup is nothing new. The startup, if we go to the history, back in 90s, we talk about in initial times, we had seen the company called Nokia. We have seen the company called GE. That was a different kind of startup which they started. Now startup is something different. In 90s, if we talk about dot-com era, where the dot-com era is buzz about, after the dot-com era, in thereafter in 2000 era, the startup has emerging and started working on it. So basically, after dot-com bubble, the startup community has learned from it and moved on, and even accelerated their speed. So we have seen the company called Facebook, we have seen the company called Uber, and DVD, Twitter, LinkedIn, all lot of companies has emerged in this arena as a startup, and we have seen the billions and billions dollar valuation of this company. In this kind of startup, if we see that these companies have a fundamental impact in our world. The world is largest media group like Facebook doesn't have any content creator on his payroll. The world largest hotel chain BNP owns no hotel, and world largest taxi company Uber doesn't have any fleet. So these arena emerged with the different concepts where they have the concept of having a solution of the problem. So now the startups are coming in the building around ourselves where the problems are guys, and by having a technology inbuilt on it and creating a solution. In recent times, we have seen that just a digitalization is not a startup. Just having a digitalization cannot be a startup. Using the newer technology like we have right now AI, blockchain, machine learning, all these new technology which are emerging and utilizing into various kind of our day-to-day life and day-to-day problems, it's become a startup. A startup is a way ahead of provide scalability ideas where you can build around the scale businesses and make a profit. So in this arena, startups are very much in the process. In the world, we are having seen that around the world, it's a ecosystem is creating, whether it's a Singapore, whether it's a UE, whether it's a UK, whether it's a US, whether it's in India, all ecosystem is creating in the startup. And people felt that startup is necessary. And in the startup culture, we have to create a area where the people of entrepreneur, where the people of angel investor, where the people of startup advisor, where the people of the business oriented people are there, and we can create a atmosphere where we can help the startup in such a way they can scale in better shape. So India is also started by the Prime Minister Modi in the startup India, and in India a lot of ecosystem has started, and around the world also, and why the chartered accountants should left behind it. And if we have seen that most of the startups are built on the technology where the IIT, IIMs, marketing people are there, but most startups, if we talk about the startups, why they are failing because of lacking of the financial knowledge. And if a co-founder attached to the any kind of technological startup as a chartered accountant, as a co-founder, then the startup can be a more scalable and more profitable and more generable. So we chartered accountant community can play an important role, and this is the right topic, right people, right agenda for our fraternity, where we can can motivate our people. Let's start something new idea. Let's generate the new technology, new thought process, and at least guide a new set of the people, newcomer of the people. He built on it and scale on it and rise on it. So I believe that this is a wonderful event, and I've seen the entire conference flow where the speakers are good, and I wish him a great success, and I believe that all the participants surely will going to be immense benefit with the knowledge of the speaker. And one thing I wanted to brief or wanted to motivate all the people, let's be part of the startup eco-culture. Whether you can start your startup or invest in the startup, so that we can help and we can build one startup which will bring the entire community in together and create a more solution to the various problems. With this, thank you, Nilip, for providing this opportunity.
Thank you, Dheeraj ji, for a very insightful address, and the way you motivated all of us, to think something out of the box, to start thinking innovatively. It's really appreciated, and we know how busy you are, but we really value and sincerely acknowledge your presence over here, sir. Please stay for the entire event. If I can ask our chapter secretary and host of the event, do we have President sir here, CA Vignesh?
I think we can proceed, Nirlip. He's not, I can't see him here as yet.
Okay. His Excellency, sir, with your permission, because President sir may be joining us from New Delhi in a while, can we please request you to address us?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I will take the honor to introduce you, sir. Thanks for the consent, sir. Yeah. So, dear members, now it's time to listen and learn from the leading light of the Indian community in Qatar, and the chief guest of the event, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to the State of Qatar. Friends, amidst this difficult time, His Excellency is steadfastly spearheading the efforts to our increasing bilateral trade between India and Qatar. Despite achieving enviable accolades, His Excellency also keeps the welfare of the economically downtrodden, our Indian brother, close to his heart, and leaving no stone unturned in assisting the needy people of the community, especially during this difficult time. Sir, thank you very much for your inspiring leadership towards the Indians over here in Qatar, and also be guiding us with your valued directives in increasing the trade volume between India and Qatar, in increasing the collaboration between IBPC and ICI New Delhi. We look up to you when it comes to contribute to the vision of yourselves and also to Indian government. Now we look forward to listen your thoughts, and sir, virtual platform is all yours.
Thank you very much, Nirlip. Good evening, friends, colleagues who from the ICI India and ICI Doha chapters and others who are joined in today. I thank ICI Doha chapter for giving me this opportunity and inviting me to be with you all today at this very unique MSME and Startup Summit, which is being hosted by ICI Doha chapter over the 2 days. I think this is a very timely and timely summit and a very topical interest, which draws a lot of interest from around in India and in Qatar, and especially during these times of the pandemic, when we are all looking for solutions to various challenges that confront us. It was interesting to hear Mr. Dheeraj a short while ago, his motivating thoughts on the startup, how startup actually, if I may say, a very good explanation which he gave. And if I put it in a very layman's term, how India is in a sense has developed a startup ecosystem is like the ideas when we talk about the solutions to maybe innovative and frugal solutions also. We all know the code word for that as in India called Jugaad. Very frugal, innovative solutions if it's more put out in a more polished manner. But that's what that means, that there are ideas with India with a population of over 1.3 billion people. So certainly there will be no dearth of ideas to challenges that confront us, whether it's a technological, social innovations, and otherwise. So that's why during these times, this summit being held, And I'm sure that with the host of luminaries who are here to speak, joining this summit, there's lot which participants here would learn and would be encouraged to pursue. Indeed, we heard Dheerajji talking about the startup ecosystem in India when he mentioned. We all aware that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, he launched the Startup India campaign in 2016. Since then, we have had a lot of successes. Today, India has emerged as the third largest startup ecosystem globally. We take pride that, if my figures are correct, that there are about 50 unicorns which have been developed, startup unicorn which have been developed in India over this period. And a large number of them are the ones which have developed over the past year, a good number of them. So indeed, it is it goes to show how the ideas and innovations are very natural to us in India. Indeed, with that part of the startup, there are a lot of incentives, benefits the campaign had, which government has put out, which I'm sure as the chartered accountants who are the hosting this event are well aware of, which includes about capital gain tax exemptions, the funding which is government also prioritizes, the public procurement which is on these startups, which are given a priority from the startups, about strong rebates in registration fee, I think nearly 80% rebate. Then there is even rebates in the trademark filing. There are rebates, benefit from sort of faster exit norms also, free of cost assistance provided by patents and trademark facilitator in filing IPRs for these startups which are coming. So these are kind of an ecosystem which have been developed as a part of the startup campaign. And that's where I think we have seen a lot of positive outcome. And during, as we are all aware, ICI Doha chapter had earlier hosted a webinar also on the recently, this year's budget. And as we are aware, there are a lot of other incentives which this year's budget in India provided for the startup ecosystem, including extending the tax holidays for the startup with the capital gains exemption for investment in startups till March 2022. How to incentivize the OPC setups, like 1% companies, to grow without any restrictions on paid up capital and turnover. And also allowed conversion into any other type of company. Again, we heard digitization, yes, but also the element of digital payment, how is a layout to financial incentives to promote digital modes of payment. These are kind of measures which facilitate the whole startup ecosystem in India at the same time. I think with this kind of an ecosystem getting a very strong boost, and certainly, as Mr. Dheeraj mentioned, having people who can, experts like chartered accountants who understands the finances much better, and to help and scale up the startups. I think their association is very important from the beginning with the idea, and preferably as a co-founders at the same time. We have seen that over these past years, there is also growing interest here in Qatar into the startup ecosystem in India. We have seen, Qatar Investment Authority, which have looked at, even like things like Byju's app, investing over $150 million. Then Swiggy is in talks to raise about 800 million with the QIA, GIC, and Falcon Edge. The Daily Hunts Josh platform that raised 100 million from Qatar Investment Authorities. These are just to give a sense on the kind of interest which is very much there here in Qatar also to look at the Indian startup ecosystem. And I'm sure the ICI Doha chapter, as also ICI in India, can be the facilitative mechanism to see how this interest can be further channelized into the whole startup ecosystem. We are going to hear about setting up startups here in Qatar also from eminent speakers later as a part of this summit. And indeed, Qatar itself has been focusing a lot to support the startup ecosystem. As we know, whether it's a part of the Qatar Development Bank or the Qatar Science and Technology Park, the FinTech, and others. So there is a whole lot of opportunities which startups do provide. And these are also important. If I look at it, our national campaign in India, what we call as Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this is very, very apt because the startups and the ecosystem merged with the MSME sector, which is again a theme of this summit. This does provide right opportunity for enhancing, increasing employment opportunities in India. Even I understand that say the Indian startup ecosystem is already providing employment to more than 33,000 people. This is just as I said, once it gets scaled up, it just multiplies exponentially out there. I'm sure this summit would provide more food for thought, would encourage more exchanges. So I wish my best to deliberations, exchange of ideas, and once again congratulate and commend ICI Doha chapter and ICI India in taking this initiative on this startup summit, a very timely one. All the best, and really happy and look forward to hearing some stimulating discussions here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. Friends, now we have amongst us Honorable President of ICI, CA Nihar Jambusaria, sir, as the guest of honor of the event, and leader at the helm of the world's second largest accounting body with more than 350,000 members and 800,000 students. Wow, what a number. Sir, on behalf of members of Doha chapter, it's a privilege to welcome you to the oldest overseas chapter of ICI established in 1981. We are grateful to you, sir, for your august presence to our event. At Doha chapter, Sir ExCom works tirelessly to contribute to the strategic vision of ICI leadership on every parameter. We draw an inspiration from your remarkable efforts to expand the global footprints of ICI. Let us being 2 representative offices in Vietnam. Under your visionary leadership, micro SME and startups and financial and tax literacy of the same have gained a renewed thrust. And this mega event is our humble attempt to contribute to your vision, sir. Sir, we request you to address the members, sponsors, and the esteemed dignitaries. Virtual platform is yours, sir.
Thank you, Nirlep. And today's chief guest, Ambassador of India to Qatar, His Excellency Deepak Mittalji, the office bearers of the Doha chapter, CN Nirlep Bhatt, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Secretary, Treasurer, today's speakers and tomorrow's speakers. Let me at the outset congratulate you for selecting a topic which is so relevant today. And why I say that this topic is so relevant, for last more than a year, the entire world is struck with COVID. And if we look at today's scenario, in many parts of the world, COVID has again raised head, particularly in India, it is again going up. And in this uncertain scenario, to start something new is a risk basically. And in this summit, I'm sure that all these speakers will speak about how to mitigate this risk, take advantage of all the concessions and reliefs which governments are prepared to give to startup, because every part of the world, and let us talk of India and Qatar, as His Excellency mentioned that even in Qatar, the movement for startup has begun. In India, it began about 4 or 5 years back when India number of concerns to the startups. But if somebody has to start something new today, I was looking at the topics. Tomorrow you have got one topic called risk management. Probably this is time when one will have to think about even disaster management. When COVID struck again, we talk of situation in Delhi, Mumbai, the big cities of India, where even they are thinking of complete lockdown also, although there is partial lockdown and many of the businesses are affected. Even startups have to factor this kind of risk into their planning, and that is very important. As you rightly mentioned, during this year we have taken 2 or 3 very important initiatives, particularly for India, to look after MSME sector and hold them. We know that during last 10 months, it was MSME sector which suffered the maximum. Corporate sector has recovered very fast because they've got all resources and they had got the plans for revival. But MSMEs found it very difficult to revive easily, and the institute thought, let us have a separate committee, and Dheeraj Khandelwal himself is heading that committee, where we have decided to render all help to MSMEs, in which startups will also be covered. So all concessions, all facilities, uh, all help which government has rendered to the startups and MSMEs, we will cover, put it on website. He'll hold meetings of MSMEs, guide them, and we will see that they revive fast. And those who want to start new, for them there is enough platform, and they get every advice which is necessary to have the startup successful. So these are some of the new efforts that we are taking. I also see in your design of the startups that you are dealing with digitalization and use of technology. Technology was uh, taking over some of the compliance functions is over last 2 to 3 years. And in last 1 year, we realized that everybody has to be hands-on with technology. Some of the new technologies which have come up, like artificial intelligence, particularly the robotic processes and data analytics. The corporates will have to adopt this very fast, and chartered accountants who are serving corporates will have to learn these technologies very fast. The institute last year itself under DAB, that is Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, has taken a number of courses, some of them intensive, to make our members learn. And now that we are on virtual mode, the presence in India or abroad is not a constraint. We don't require visa to attend anything virtually. And therefore, whatever courses we are launching, you can attend, and whatever you are doing, even we can attend. And this will allow us to collaborate and spread this knowledge very fast. Let us do our best to see that we help our governments to revive, we help our governments to take right decisions in this difficult time, and help startups, help MSMEs to survive. In any country of the world, share of MSME in GDP is more than 45%. And if that is so, no country can afford to see MSMEs suffer in business. Chartered accountants can do a great service to MSMEs and see that our country's economies thrive, and in turn our profession also grows along with them. So with this, once again, let me congratulate the chapter for organizing this much required uh, webinar or 2 days summit on startup. I'm sure that all those who are already startups or who want to start anything new will find great help in this summit. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Honorable President Nihar Jambusaria, sir, for a very insightful and brilliant remarks, I would say. At a later point of time in coming months, we hope that we will be having an honor to receive you in a physical manner also, sir. As we say here, that hopefully things will get better, and we always feel that that tomorrow will be better than today. So that's the optimism we all have, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We also have amongst us the generous supporter for this event and the chairman of Solution ERP WLL, Sheikh Ahmed Al Thani, and his team also. Sheikh Ahmed Al Thani, thank you very much, sir, for your support to our event and also for gracing the event with your esteemed presence, sir. May I request now our chapter secretary, CA Vignesh, to take the proceeding forward and introduce Sheikh.
Thank you, Nirlep, and thank you all the dignitaries who have just spoken. Firstly, we sponsors are the backbone of any event. It is indeed our pleasure to have with us Solution ERP as the event sponsor for the Startup Summit that we have over the next 2 days. We have with us Sheikh Ahmed Al Thani, Chairman, Solution ERP. He himself is a startup entrepreneur, and who better to have to us as a sponsor in a startup summit. Sheikh Ahmed is a graduate of the University of Edinburgh. He is a firm believer of the potential of the Qatari market and the spirit of entrepreneurship, and has been participating and been operating a number of entities in industries such as software, real estate, medical, construction, and engineering. Sheikh Ahmed welcomes all new startups to Qatar in providing a platform as a support partner for all new opportunities, whether local or overseas, and leads its way in collaboration with various stakeholders in the state of Qatar. He is proud of the country's leadership under His Highness the Amir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and Qatar's success towards FIFA 2022 and in achieving its 2030 national vision. We welcome you, sir, Sheikh Ahmed, and we'd like would like to hear from you on your thoughts on the startup. And over to you, sir, if you could just give him your insights on startup as such and your thoughts on startups in Qatar. Over to you, Sheikh Ahmed.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dear esteemed audience, it gives me great pleasure to address you all in the presence of His Excellency, Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to Qatar, CA Nihar, President of ICAI, CA Nirlap, Chairman of Doha Chapter of ICAI. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this event, to be part of the startup business in Qatar. I'm proud of my country's leadership by His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. He has taken various initiatives for startups to flourish in this country and to provide state-of-the-art infrastructure and platform for doing business from Qatar. I know all of you are numbers people, and I don't want to bore you with numbers, but on a lighter note, Qatar now stands at rank 77 in terms of ease of doing business, just 2 ranks ahead of India. In recent history, India has shown tremendous improvement in its ranking for ease of doing business under the leadership of His Excellency Prime Minister Modi. Qatar has recently launched Qatar Free Zones to attract industries operating in trade, logistics, manufacturing, chemicals, but uniquely, it aims to bring emerging tech to the Gulf Peninsula. Many big names have either already commenced their operations or are near-term launch of phase. Qatar Financial Center is another well-regarded avenue for startups in Qatar. It provides foundation for eager entrepreneurs to flourish in Qatar's ever-growing economy. With new fintech opportunities, Qatar is ready to transition to the future of finance. The government's multi-billion-dollar investment program has put the country on a sure footing to further develop its infrastructure and to cater to its growing population, in line with Qatar National Vision 2030. Another initiative Qatar has launched is to extend rich experience advisory from Qatar Development Bank for startup entrepreneurs and SMEs. It provides not only seed funding, but also mentoring and business consultancy to startups to ensure success post-establishment phase. These avenues taken up by Qatar has recently embraced the spirit of entrepreneurship amongst its nationals and non-national residents, resulting in various startups that are popping up all over the place, from food delivery companies, specialty coffee shops, as well as establishing domestic manufacturing plants to bring Made in Qatar to a whole new meaning. Today, Qatar's Doha chapter's theme event, Startup Summit. I would like to say this is the right time at the right place for Indian business communities to tap into their opportunities from Qatar's expansion in various non-oil-based industries. And in my closing remarks, I would like to congratulate the chapter on this great event. And I would like to thank His Excellency, the Ambassador, Dr. Deepak, and Doha chapter of ICAI. And finally, I would like to extend a warm welcome to CA Nihar, President of ICAI, to open the prestigious ICAI Overseas Office in Doha, Qatar, to help in developing the next generation of financial professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh Ahmed. It was a wonderful insight into the possibilities and what startups can achieve in the state of Qatar. It is definitely insightful and encouraging for all of us to look at startups as an opportunity. We also have with us the CEO of Solution ERP, our event sponsor, Mr. Magdi, who would also be making a presentation to us on the startup environment in general. So, Mr. Magdi, it is a pleasure to invite you to make your presentation.
Thank you so much. Dear Chief Guest, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Guest of Honor CA Nihar, and keynote address His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed Abdullah Al Thani, and ICAI members in India and Qatar. Good evening. I would like to welcome you all and to introduce our company, Solution ERP. Solution ERP Software Services is a software development company that is specialized in business management software solutions. We recognize that change is an inevitable part of the business and aim to deliver simple and cost-effective solution to help companies cope up with the change. With our secure, easy-to-use, customizable, scalable, and modular ERP, our clients can easily adapt to the dynamic business environment. As a Qatari startup, we have successfully established by having more than 200 clients with 1,500 active users in industries such as trading, construction, retail, and manufacturing in the first year. We believe that the key to sustainability for a startup is to have an organized and controlled technology in place at an affordable price with excellent service. We understand the unique nature of the region, and as a startup company, we have came across many challenges, and we were able to overcome these challenges with clear strategy in place and team effort. We also believe that adaptation is especially important for startup companies, and with the right technology in place, a startup can adapt, improve, and most importantly, to sustain. Allow me to take you through a small and brief presentation about our services for startup companies. I will share my screen.
Yes, please.
I hope my screen can be seen across your.
Not yet. It's not yet visible.
Second. I would like to request the host to enable the screen share.
It is enabled, sir. Can you please try again?
Okay, now it's enabled.
Yes, it's visible now.
Yes. Solution ERP for startup companies. Why do I need an ERP system for a startup? We believe that ERP is very crucial for startup companies by providing central platform for all business processes right from the start. and always keep an overview of the key operation figures and cash flow. So you can focus, so your focus can remain on the essentials. Solution ERP is one of the most technological advanced ERP in Qatar by providing API integration and web and browser support and multiple devices support. Within 2 years, we have reached 4,500 active users, and we are aiming to reach 10,000 active users by 2023. We are providing the user with a friendly interface, interactive dashboard to achieve the maximum dynamic and effective work environment. Providing business owner with easy access to business information, so they can always stay in control and to manage their business on the go. We believe that ERP can improve the business outcome with the mix of the right technology, like machine learning, Internet of Things, providing analytics information, blockchain, and integration and scalability. No matter the size of your business, small, medium, large, we support all business size. For how many outlets you have, or how many multiple locations you have. We are providing the startup with a cloud database hosting with SSL certificates and SDN performance acceleration enabled, and all our servers we are using SSD technology. We believe that ERP can optimize your startup business, and we are providing solutions for all sectors: trading and distribution, construction, manufacturing, retail, like POS shops, and service sector as well. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Magdi, for your presentation this evening. And we again thank Solution ERP for being our event sponsor for today. So it now gives me pleasure to hand over the session to my colleague, CA Arun Somnath, to take us to the first knowledge session of the evening. Over to you, CA Arun.
Thank you, CA Vignesh. I think this, thank you, CA Vignesh. So, good evening and a warm welcome to our respected chief guest, His Excellency Dr. Deepak Mittal, Ambassador of India to State of Qatar, guest of honor, CA Nihar Jambusaria, sir, President ICAI, Sheikh Ahmad Al Thani, Director Shakara Holding, other eminent speakers of the day, and all the dear members of Doha chapter. It's my privilege to introduce the speaker of the day on the topic, how the startup can leverage technological advancement. And we can't ask for a better person than CA Rajiv Gupta, VP and Group Head Internal Audit, Flipkart, who currently works with Flipkart, which is one of the best startups that we have heard of in recent past, and hope he will be sharing some of his experience with Flipkart. He has also worked with Diageo India and Coca-Cola Southwest Asia as an internal control head. He is a certified fraud examiner and a CISA and DISA holder. He has authored a book on technical guide in internal audit in beverage industry, published by ICAI. These are some of the highlights of his highly illustrious career. I request everyone present here to join me in welcoming CA Rajiv with a virtual round of applause. CA Rajiv ji, the screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Arun. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. So thank you so much once again, and thank you, Nirlab, and thanks Doha chapter of ICAI for inviting me to share some of the learnings which I have over the years in this journey. And I will be sharing my screen to take you through some of the insights which I have prepared for this session. I hope my screen is visible now. So to set the context, Since this discussion is about how the startups can leverage technological advancement, we'll start with why only startups. Why we are talking only about use of technology by startups? Because the biggest competition is coming from established business houses, and the emerging technologies, they are becoming super favorites of all the established business houses because of two primary reasons. One is the efficiency factor. Every company is looking for how they can leverage, how they can rationalize the cost of operations. And why that need is becoming more and more common, because increasing the top line is not that easy. And hence the pressure is on how the organizations can rationalize the cost of operations. And that is where all the emerging technologies, they are being evaluated to see how they can help us become more efficient, how they can help us reduce the cost of operations. That is reason number one. Reason number two, why large corporations are running after emerging technologies is huge amount of data. The data which is available with the corporates, so they are finding ways through all the newer algorithms, AI, ML, and deep learning, which I will talk about. They are finding ways how this data which is available inside, as well as which is available publicly, how that can be leveraged to better serve their customer, to make better decisions, and so on. So I will elaborate on that as well. Hence, it becomes very important for the non-large corporations as well, which means the startups as well, to understand how they can also leverage emerging technologies so that they can compete on equal footing with the large corporations. I thought I will spend a couple of minutes in firstly ensuring that when I am talking about RPA, AI, and ML, all 200 of us are on the same page in terms of the definition of what these three terms mean, because many times I have seen these are used interchangeably. So I'll just spend 2 minutes. So RPA is very common. We have been using globally for 20 plus years, and it started primarily with financial institutions, and now it is becoming the backbone of most of the customer cares. So for example, when you call your telecom customer care, so it's not a human being but a robot, a software which actually picks up your call and ask you to dial different extensions depending upon what you want to be served. So at the back end, it is actually RPA, which is robotic process automation. It has been pre-fed with a lot of permutation and combinations. What type of questions you may ask, and what are the response against each question. RPA is not intelligent. It is like a calculator. It has been pre-fed 2 + 2 = 4. So as long as you are asking 2 + 2, it will give you 4. But if your question is something else, it redirects you to a human being saying, please press 9 to speak to a customer care executive. So that's how, in the end, in case RPA is not able to serve you, it pushes you back to a human being. What is AI? Artificial intelligence is the one where human intelligence is being tried to be replicated into a software by feeding in huge amount of data through machine learning process. So machine learning is a process through which terabytes and terabytes of data is fed into the AI programs so that the learning goes into it. So that's how AI is different from RPA. RPA is not intelligent. AI is supposed to be intelligent because it has been pre-fed with a lot of data of, if these were the circumstances, this is what the decision was made. Yeah. But the important thing is it can be biased, and I will cover that in few minutes. So with that background, the good news is in this war with the large corporations, startups can also win. Yeah. These emerging technologies, they are no longer restricted only to the big business houses, and I will share why. Because we all are witnessing significant amount of changes which are happening around us, and many of these, just as a disclaimer, many of these opinions and beliefs, ladies and gentlemen, are my own opinions and beliefs. These are not endorsed by my organization. So feel free to raise any question, any query at the end of my session. Happy to answer those. So what I'm seeing, the changes which are happening in favor of startups are, number one, head office culture is going away. Fortunately, unfortunately, one of the trigger which has preponed this trend is COVID. Earlier, this trend would have come, after many years, but now this trend is coming faster, which means that the concentration of experts to few cities, few bigger cities, it is going away, and there are a lot of people who are going to work from a lot of different places, maybe tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities as well. That's one. Second is 6 feet offices will become reality. Yeah, we are thinking that it is only during the COVID times, but it is going to last for pretty long period. And once we have tasted in last 13 odd months that we can still survive and a lot of roles can be performed from home, people have tasted that how those 2 to 4 hours extra which they can save by not going to office, they can better leverage, for improving their lifestyle, spending quality time with their family and so on. So that is going to change a lot of dynamics around how people work. Mega cities will decline for sure. Chatbots and robots will become a norm, and I will talk about that in more detail in next few slides. Potential regionalization of supply chain will happen because earlier organizations wanted to bring economies of scale, and that was all the more applicable to the larger corporations. So they wanted to see which is that country and city in the world where they can have the lowest ever cost of production. Now they have seen that if that happens, then business continuity becomes a big risk, and hence now many organizations are seriously planning and have started execution of regionalization of supply chain, which means not having one place but multiple places of supply chain and logistics. Another very important trend I'm seeing is gender equality will get boost. And why I'm saying so? Because since now many people are working from home, there were many talented women employees or potential employees who could not work earlier because of partial commitment at home. So they were available only for few hours in a day, which was earlier not considered to be very feasible option. Now, since work from home has become a norm, there are many organizations who have successfully tested that if a woman employee is available, say for 4 to 5 hours in a day, because for remaining hours she has to take care of her home and other responsibilities, they have tested that it is working successfully. And hence many organizations I am expecting to take this lead further, and that will bring a lot of equality as far as the earning opportunities are concerned for for both male and female. So that's going to be one big change, which will give additional edge to the startups to leverage this this human resource which is available and is not well tapped so far. So these are some of the trends which have been preponed, fortunately, unfortunately, by COVID, and many of them will go in the startups' favor. And then when I'm talking about emerging technologies, then what is going to be the end state? The end state is not that we as human beings, we as chartered accountants or the employees, it is not going to happen that we will be replaced by these softwares and these programs. It will actually strengthen the man-machine partnership. It will change how we actually work together, and these are getting speeded up by various technological changes, like cloud is becoming very big, 5G is coming, IoT, the solutions ERP, a team talked about that. AI ML is becoming bigger and bigger. Robotics anyways was there for at least 2 decades and is now becoming bigger, because every organization is looking for bringing efficiencies into their operations. Another important factor which is going to work in startups' favor is many of the organizations and many engineers, they are bringing many AI and ML softwares in the form of off-the-shelf availability. So you don't, these days, you don't need to spend millions of dollars in getting a world-class ERP which will work for you, or world-class AI ML software which will work for you. Depending upon your budget, you have many good options which are available off the shelf these days to start, depending upon the size of your startup. So you don't really need to burn your pockets at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. Now, if this is how the big business houses and the large corporates are using the emerging technologies, then how startups can also leverage them. One is many of these technologies, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, it can help you in making business decisions faster. And how it can help you by enabling you base your decision on the analytics, which was earlier not possible. See, earlier, many of the decisions, many of the strategic decisions were based on human data analysis and the gut feeling. Now, those human data analytics, they are getting replaced with AI and ML based analytics, because there is a limitation to how well we as human beings can look at the data from 3-dimensional perspective. And that is where these algorithms, these machine learning based algorithms, they can actually look at data from every angle, from every perspective, and how the previous data was used to make decisions in the past. That everything can be analyzed. Now, here's an important catch. Many people feel that AI can be used to make unbiased decisions, or can act as an unbiased advisor. But I take that statement with a pinch of salt, because currently whichever algorithms you use, they all have some amount of bias in it. Yeah, I will not go into the technical aspect of it, but depending upon the data which has been fed into the algorithm for the learning process, there is always some amount of unexplained bias. Yeah, and that has not been addressed so far. And that is why the man-machine partnership is important, that if the algorithm is suggesting some decision, that is where the human decision making will come into picture to complement that. So it will help you complement, but AI ML cannot replace the human aspect of the decision making part. So that's one. Second is, these technologies can be used, and have already been, the use has started for improving the customer experience. And if you see, and if you scroll, if you search for different products on Flipkart app, or for that matter any other e-commerce app, you will see that there are many other startups have come in the established businesses. So if you are talking about the beauty care, if you are talking about cosmetics and so on, in all those areas, the newer brands, the startups have become are becoming equally relevant. And how they are doing it? Because they are providing, or they're showing interest in providing personalized experience. And this is where a lot of the middle class and upper middle class customers, they are willing to pay premium for that. So these startups who have come into these FMCG sector, they are leveraging customer data, customer buying pattern data, to see to what extent, if I do customization, the customer may decide not to go with the standard brands, for example, the Ponds or the Niveas and other brands of the world. So people are trying new brands because they are willing to pay premium for the customization, and that is becoming big USP in the e-commerce sector. And I invite you all to try yourself searching for some of these products on the e-commerce platform, and see how the established brands, they are getting stiff competition from the startups in this area, because these startups are leveraging data for better customer experience. Another area where technology can really help a startup is evolving the product. Again, it is based on use of data. So data analysis, whether it is available in the form of customer reviews on your platform or on your competitor's platform, how you are using those customer reviews data to ensure that the product which we are selling, is it meeting the customer requirements and the expectations or not? And what are some of the suggestions which the customer is putting on public forum to evolve your product, is something which many organizations are taking seriously. It is huge amount of data, and the storage sometimes becomes a challenge because for each product category, for each product ID, there are hundreds of reviews which are put in by the customers. How that data can be retained and can be analyzed is something which has to be, the frequency and the storage needs to be defined. But this can be one big differentiator for a startup in launching a product, and then keep fine-tuning based on, number one, their own reviews, plus the reviews of their competitors on their websites. Another big use where the emerging technologies are being used, especially if you would have noticed, this use has got super increased in last 12 months, is the AI-powered chatbots. Earlier, before February of 2020, it was not very common. But from Feb 2020, many organizations realized that earlier, which they felt that it is given that their customer service is working, it is working 24/7 in whichever country they have set up their customer service. They never thought that a time will come when the customer service per se is not available. And there was this time in March, April, and May last year when organizations had no other solution. And that is when these chatbots became very common. And this trend is going to continue because a lot of new startups are coming up in this area itself of building new chatbots. And they are not at all burning pockets. They are very reasonably priced and with and available with a lot of functionalities which are good enough for a startup to serve their customers. So this is something which is going to become all the more common in case any website has not yet started using it. Automation of back office jobs. Whether you are a startup or a big corporate, this is something which will help you save huge operational cost, and to bring your bring your economies, bring your competitive factor when you're competing either with other startups or with the large corporates. And again, you don't need to redefine this process, because there are a lot of softwares, RPA, robotic process automation based softwares, which have come up, and with very minimal intervention, a lot of your repetitive tasks, the task which doesn't involve human intelligence, and they are process based. If, for example, you have to create purchase order with these 5 fields, if you know the data for that 5 field, anybody can create that purchase order. So if the task is like that, those type of tasks are being moved to RPA, and there are off-the-shelf software which are available now for startups as well, who can straight away start using these RPA-based softwares. And these, if you automate these back office jobs, then it will bring a huge amount of competitive advantage, because your recurring costs will be taken care. Next, very important, perspective from the e-commerce and from the startup perspective is the quality of your online presence. See, customer these days, how the mentality of the customer is changing, yeah, especially with with Gen Z and the millennials coming in. The moment you are launching a business, the moment you are talking about your presence in the market, people immediately search for your website. And that is one thing which is becoming as important as having landline few years back. So if a company is used to publish their letterhead without a landline, it used to be considered that maybe it is a fake company. This was a reality few years ago, yeah, till few years ago. Now, not having a quality website has replaced that position. So if you have to place yourself as an authority, even though you are a startup, even though you have not yet have turned into a $1 billion business, this quality of online presence has become absolute necessity. First impression is the last impression. We have been hearing from ages. That applies to your online presence as well. And what I have seen, that 2 things work very well if you want to see how well your overall website is versus your competitor, is go to your competitor's website and look for 2 things. Number 1, what you really like about them. Yeah. Secondly, what you don't like about them. What you like about them, you may like to customize, your website to take care of that likability. And what you don't like about their website, please ensure that that problem is not there on your website. So these are 2 things, very simple process, but it is super effective, and it really works well to ensure that when someone comes on your website, comes on your maybe mobile app, the number of minutes that potential customer spends on your website and on your mobile app in navigating from one page to another page, you can increase the time he's spending on your website. So this becomes very, very important in converting that potential to an actual customer. Lastly, I will say, as one very important perspective is, for all these things to happen, there are few important aspects to be kept in mind. One is, as far as your artificial intelligence, use of AI and ML is concerned, the very important base which you would need is data. If you don't have data, you won't be able to use artificial intelligence, deep learning, and so on. And hence it becomes very important that the moment you start your business, you start building your database. Any data coming to you is good data. Nothing is bad. Obviously, in complying with the requirements of each country has different data retention requirement, data archival requirement, data destruction requirement, and there are many companies on which GDPR is applicable. In compliance within the framework of all these data privacy and other laws, it is very important that data is available with you. That is first important consideration. Second is return on investment. See, when you will start evaluating where to apply AI and ML, there are many times you may feel like anything and everything we are doing, let's make it AI and ML based. That would not work for you, because there has to be a cost benefit analysis to be done for different processes. In which process the benefit will be more if I apply AI and ML versus the cost which is involved. So there cannot be a blanket decision that where that I will apply AI and ML in everything I do. That won't work. It has to be the financial feasibility study has to be performed for each process. Third is niche. Niche means and that this is something which is very becoming very controversial topic. See, as far as artificial intelligence and machine learning is concerned, if you Google it or if you speak with any data scientist, there are X types of algorithms and permutation combinations which are available. They are finite. They are not infinite. So what does that mean? It means, suppose if Arun is starting, having his own startup and Nirlap is having his own startup, and they both are, leveraging AI and ML. Very soon, they both will lose their competitive advantage because they both are deciding very similar manner. Because they are using very similar algorithms, very similar data set. And if you are using similar algorithm, similar data set, the output will also be similar. Then how Arun will differentiate his strategy, what product I will launch, at what price I will launch, which category of customers I will launch for, which category of customers I will target. All these decisions, unfortunately for both of them will be similar, because AI and ML have finite set of algorithms available right now. And hence it becomes very important that any startup, they define their niche, and their strategic decisions have to have manual element into it, which overrides or which complements what is being thrown as the outcome by the artificial intelligence and the machine learning algorithms. This is one controversial area where different views exist, and this is my view that sooner or later the competitive advantage will go away if you purely rely on emerging technologies. Yeah, and hence niche becomes important. How you are going to differentiate yourself with your competitors. Last couple of thoughts. Whether you are a startup or you are a large corporate, believe me, in these days, it doesn't make a difference. These days, customers are potential customers, and especially the Gen Z and millennials. They are looking for value. They are looking for the brands which understand them. They are looking for brands which are which adapt as per time. And hence, we don't need to worry. Whether if you are a startup, you don't need to worry that you're competing with large business houses. As long as some of the insights which I have shared today, if you incorporate those, the difference of large and small in this digital world is becoming slimmer and slimmer. And in my own words, what I feel, that the rules to enter the business are still the same, but the rules to succeed have changed. So it all depends whether you want to be one of the many or you want to be the first in that niche, is something which you need to decide. And that is something which will differentiate, your product and your offering with other startups and other large corporate houses. So that is going to be the differentiating factor. So with that, I will take a pause here, and in case Arun, Nirlap, in case there is time for Q&A, and if there is any question, happy to answer that.
Thank you, CA Rajiv. It was really an informative session and so insightful. It seems that everyone has understood everything, and there are very few questions. So I would like to ask, I will take up 2 questions as of now, and then we will take other questions offline. We will send it to you so that you can respond to those if time permits. So the first question is that how one can verify the authenticity of data available with different sources, probably to feed into the AI development probably.
So a very good question and very practical problem, with use of public data. And hence it becomes very, very important that we know the source of that data. And what, I encourage everyone, not only the startups, everyone, even to my team, that use data from authoritative websites, for example, say Government of India website, or US government website, or a company's website. So anything which is not an individual driven source, a source which can be verified, that is something which needs to be used. Otherwise, it really becomes challenging, because what you use, AI and ML is like garbage in, garbage out. So if you feed in unverified data into machine learning algorithms, you are training your program with the corrupt data, and then the outcome will also be corrupt. And hence, sometimes it becomes problem in getting data from authoritative source, but it is better to wait and validate versus going for speed, or where you compromise on the quality and say, okay, let me execute first. So that's a balance to be maintained.
Thank you, Sirajev. See, there is one more question that has been posted by one of our members. So the question goes like, what is the required scale to implement RPA solutions?
What is the required scale? So see, there is nothing called scale. It is about doing an evaluation of how many man days, man weeks, or man months of effort are involved in doing this one particular task. Let's take an example. Suppose you have a clerk whose job is to create, say, 100 purchase orders every day. So it means if he's not, suppose if he's not taking any leave, he's working 365 days. So in a year, he's creating 365,000, correct now? So 36,500 purchase orders. Yeah. And that is the cost which the company is incurring. So for creating 36,500 purchase orders, this is the total cost, which means the salary cost plus, the PF, the space cost, the office admin cost. If you just add it up, that is the cost of raising those many purchase orders. Now, if you move that task to an RPA, which will do create all these 36,500 purchase orders, as long as the cost of development and maintenance means execution of that bot is within that cost, is very good. But if it exceeds the cost, even in long term, it doesn't bring a business value. Let's take another example. Let's take example of audit function itself. Now, suppose you as a chartered accountant, your team is testing, say, 25 samples of purchase orders for all your clients. But there are only 10 clients for whom you do the purchase order process audit. So which means during the year, your team is testing only 25 samples for 10 clients, which is 250 purchase orders only. Now, for you, will it make sense to put this particular audit step onto RPA? My gut feeling is no. For automating, testing of 250 samples, the costing may not work out. So that way, it has to be looked into individual process-wise and the step-wise which you want to automate. Higher the repetition, better the chance of financial feasibility of putting that into RPA.
Thank you. Thanks for that. In want of time, we will take, we are actually kind of almost out of time, but then one last question that has been posted, we will definitely like to take that. So the question is how to decide which is the best ERP system for your business?
My historic experience is, again, sometimes it is controversial. Many times ERPs are sold on the presentations. Yeah. So that's my historic experience, not necessarily my current organization experience. I have learned that many times these decisions were made sitting in a room where some fancy presentations were looked into. So I think that practice needs to change. Instead of looking at presentation, do a POC. So whether it is a global ERP, maybe like SAP, Oracle Financial, or maybe the solutions ERP which we just looked at a few minutes back. I think it makes it really gives you a good idea if you do a small POC, proof of concept, putting your own data into it, because every organization doesn't need to be on SAP. Yeah. And every organization is not that size that Tally or BZ or these type of softwares can serve their purpose. So there's no one size fit all. Do proof of concept with your real data and do one cycle. One cycle means that process end to end. So for example, if you're trying to purchase it for your procurement process, say which starts with purchase requisition and ends with vendor reconciliation. So do that POC with very limited data set, but process your transaction end to end and see to what extent it serves the purpose. Number one, your operational purpose. Number two, your governance purpose, which means the type of reports you need, whether that ERP has the capability to give you those type of reports or not. So I think that should be, very simple hack to go about that.
Completely agree with you. In fact, any ERP is helpful if you are also flexible to change some of your processes as well. This is what even I also feel. Thank you. Thanks a lot, CA Rajiv. In fact, as you said, sometimes, the machines give a little bit of a wrong insight, and the way when we posted your picture and the way we see you in person is entirely different. It seems you have used a lot of intelligence during this lockdown and, have shed down a lot of weight as well. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for accepting our invite and presenting this a very insightful session. Now I hand over to CA Kamlesh to take the session forward.
And thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you, Nirlab. Thank you, Arun. And thanks entire Doha chapter team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arun, and thank you, CA Rajiv, for that. And a warm good evening to ladies and gentlemen. I hope the journey has been fruitful so far and you are enjoying the session. Before I move ahead to the next session, small reminder, post your questions in the chat box. Time permitting, we'll take it with the speaker, else we will answer that offline. Our next session is on ease of doing business and establishing startups in Qatar. And the speaker for the next session needs no introduction to the Doha chapter of ICAI or ICAI in general. He has been a past chairman of Doha chapter of ICAI. At his very peak, when he was director of finance in one of the listed group in Qatar, he quit that plum job and established his own firm, virtually a startup, you can say. And in a very short span of time, it has become one of the fast growing audit and consulting firm. And why he is very unique to speak today on startups, because in this very short span of time, he has helped establish 60 plus companies in Qatar. I can go on and on his resume, but I think since he needs no introduction to this chapter, just will touch on a few of his humane side. We have played cricket for the last 13, 14 years. He is a very avid golfer. He's ever helpful to the chapter activities. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Managing Director and founder of Creston SVP Chartered Accountants, the versatile and dynamic CA Seji Baliakat. CA Seji, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Kamlesh, for that great introduction. His Excellency Ambassador of India to Qatar, Dr. Deepak Mittal. Sir, Honorable President of ICAI, CA Nihaji, Central Council Member of ICAI, CA Dheeraj, ICAI Doha Chapter President, CA Neerab, and his energetic Managing Committee members, other speakers, dignitaries, past chairman, members, and guests. Good evening to all. Thank you, Doha Chapter, for giving me this opportunity to participate in the very first virtual startup summit of ICAI Doha Chapter. I will start with a disclaimer today that I'm not a great speaker, but I have incorporated many companies, as Kamlesh said, for the last 7 years in different branches of business zones. So let me start, share my presentation. I'm allowed to share, right?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, you are.
You can see the presentation, right?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Yeah. Before moving on to the presentation on ease of doing business and establishing startup in Qatar, I would like to introduce Qatar for those who joined us today from different parts of the world. As you know, Qatar is a very small country with a population of 2.7 million people, out of which around 700,000 people are Indians. These are the pictures of Qatar during 1980s. And this is modern Qatar. Most of the developments which you can see here have happened during last 20 years. And talking about Qatar economy, Qatar is one of the fastest growing regional economies in GCC with one of the highest per capita income in the world. The International Monetary Fund projects Qatar's real GDP growth at 5% in 2021, even during this COVID time. And Qatar Investment Authority, as our ambassador said, it's a real hub for investment opportunities and investment, international investment, and investing in many high-profile investment all over the world, including India. Qatar Investment Authority has recently invested $150 million in Byju's, as our ambassador said, and $450 million in a unit of Adani Transmission Limited. About Qatar energy sector, Qatar is the second largest exporter of natural gas in the world, and Qatar's economy is driven by exploitation of natural gas and petroleum resources. Qatar has about 13% of the world's proven resources of natural gas, and it is the third largest reserve in the world. These natural gas reserves are sufficient to maintain the production. You can see around 134 years. There are unknown resources to be explored as well. As you know, Qatar now focusing on Qatar Vision 2030 by ensuring an efficient management of resources and focusing on a knowledge-based economy. Qatar has a great transportation system, and Qatar Airways is one of the largest airline in the world, and Hamad International Airport is one of the best airport in the world. About construction industry, Qatar is expected to be among the fastest growing global construction market between 2020 and 2025, and country's construction industry is expected to be benefited from 2022 FIFA World Cup, as well as I said, Qatar National Vision 2030. About education sector, Qatar has a robust and diversified education sector in line with international standard, and Qatar has many world-class universities. About sports, sport in Qatar is primarily centered on football in terms of participation as well as spectatorship. At the same time, Qatar has been conducting several successful international sports events since long time. Our national table tennis team and fencing team came here recently in Qatar, and we got an opportunity to felicitate them with our ambassador of India to Qatar. Our football national team is also coming in June 2021 for FIFA World Cup qualifying matches in Qatar. Now, Qatar is focusing on FIFA World Cup 2022, the first World Cup being held in Arab world with 32 teams, and the finals of FIFA World Cup is going to be held on 18th December 2022. You know the speciality of 18th December, which is Qatar National Day. These are the World Cup stadiums. Now, let's start with our main topic, ease of doing business and how to do company incorporation in Qatar. First, let us talk about our general legal environment in the country. As far as the investment in Qatar is concerned, there is no restriction on the flow of capital to Qatar. But as you know, there is anti-money laundering. There is a strict rule about anti-money laundering, and definitely all the inflows are subject to anti-money laundering rules. Qatar's basic commercial regulator in the ministry is Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the Qatar Central Bank is the regulatory authority for banking, insurance, and fintech, as our ambassador mentioned, and other financial sector companies. Qatar has an exchange house called Qatar Exchange, in which 48 companies, only 48 companies and 2 exchange traded funds are listed in Qatar Exchange. And Qatar Financial Market Authority is a regulator for this Qatar Exchange. Qatar has some other regulators as well. One is Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority, which control Qatar Financial Center, and Qatar Free Zone Authority, which control Qatar Free Zone. You know that until 2005, without a Qatari partner, no company could have been incorporated in Qatar. But Qatar has changed its law through the incorporation of Qatar Financial Center in 2005. Now we are allowed to open 100% non-Qatari ownership companies in different financial sector. I mean, in financial sector in Qatar Financial Center, and other different sectors in different financial centers as well. As a part of liberalization policy, Qatar has recently made so many changes which allows our foreign investors to invest in various sectors through different free zone authorities. As everyone knows, Qatar has no personal income tax. Qatar companies are taxed at 10%. There is no withholding tax. I mean, in different zones, but in MOCI, withholding tax is 5%. Capital gain tax is 10%. Excise tax is applicable for selected selected products like tobacco, carbonated drinks, and energy drinks, and which is applicable at 50% for carbonated drinks and 100% for energy drinks and tobacco products. As far as the tax compliance is concerned, which is a very difficult stuff as far as the Qatar is concerned, annual audit and tax filing is compulsory. Now we have implemented transfer pricing, country by country reporting, contract notification, which is mandatory for companies above a particular threshold limit. Qatar is also in the process of implementing value-added tax, which is going to be implemented by beginning of 2022. We are expecting by beginning of 2022, VAT also will get implemented. When you talk about ease of doing business, our previous speaker has already mentioned about it. Qatar ranks 77 in 2020. I think there is a small correction as far as the Indian ranking is concerned. I think it is 33, not 65. I mean 75. Qatar ranked 77 in 2020 compared to a ranking of 83 in the year 2019. The reason for the jump, as you know, it is due to the reforms in the electricity availability, property registration, and credit availability. Qatar has also recently introduced an online access to credit bureau report and online application for electricity connection. As per 2020 statistics, Qatar ranked first in the stable inflation and second for taxation regime. And the World Economic Forum's Global Competitive Index 2019, Qatar ranked 29th out of 141 economies. It is also ranked first in the usage of internet. Now, let's talk about business zones for incorporation. So Qatar has mainly 5 business zones: Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Qatar Financial Center, Qatar Free Zone Authority, Qatar Science and Technology Park, and Qatar Media City. There are 5 business zones in Qatar. Now let's talk about Ministry of Commerce and Industry first. There are 2 types of incorporation in Ministry of Commerce and Industry: general incorporation as well as special incorporation. That means with a special approval. General incorporation normally needs a Qatari person. So if we want to start a company, we need a Qatari person to be a partner, and the maximum ownership available limit is for the non-Qatari investor is 49%. Normally, Qatari and GCC nationals are treated same for the incorporation of the companies, but to a certain extent. Recently, you know that government has approved an ownership limit of 100% in MOCI also with a special approval, but is subject to special approval, and the taxation, normal taxation of 10% of tax is not applicable for those companies. So as far as a non-Qatari investor in Qatar Ministry of Commerce is concerned, his share is taxable at 10%. That means if an Indian has 49% ownership in the company, the net profit of that company will be taxable at 4.9%. That is 10% of 49%. When we talk about legal structure in MOCI, we can have limited liability companies, partnerships, sole proprietorship, public shareholding company, private shareholding company, holding companies, foreign companies. There are different types of format is available in Ministry of Commerce and Industries. But with special approval, as I said, foreign companies can have 10 years tax holidays in MOCI. In case of land requirement, we can get land through Manatak. MOCI actually has an arrangement with Manatak to provide a high-class infrastructure facilities for MOCI registered companies. So if anyone wants to start up a company, the first step which you need to do is getting a name for the company. So if you want to get a name approved for the company, normally what we do is a minimum of 3 names in a priority list to be submitted for getting your name registered. Once the name is approved, the owner, or sometimes in the case of corporate owners, what happens is you have to get the authorized signatories as a signatory for articles of association, and you get articles of association prepared, get it attested in the Ministry of Justice. So first step is getting the name, and second one is articles of association to be registered in the Ministry of Justice. Once you pay the fees, you can get your certificate of registration. That is a CR. So CR actually, you know that if the corporate institutional investors, sometimes an Indian company wants to come and start up the business in Qatar, what you need to do is you need to get your documents, basic documents of the company attested with Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the country. That is Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then after that, you have to get it attested by the Qatar Embassy. So along with that, what you need to do, you have to get a power of attorney or for the authorizing a person who is already in Qatar to incorporate your company. That means for incorporation process, you need to appoint someone through the power of attorney to do the process. So for companies who are coming from India, what they need to do, they need to get their document attested along with the power of attorney, and this power of attorney should be in the name of a person who is already in Qatar. So your CR is ready, certificate of registration is ready, but CR is not enough to start an operation in Qatar. You need to get your municipality license. So for municipality license, you also need to have an office address. Means you need to get a lease agreement signed for your office or the industry. Once lease agreement is signed, you are ready to apply for the municipality license. You are ready to start an operation once your municipality license is issued. But you know that you need employees. So hence you need to get one more document. It's called labor card. So this is also known as computer card. Once the computer card is received, you have to register with Ministry of Labor, and then you can apply for the visa. Once visa is available, you can bring the employees, you can start your process. Meanwhile, what you need to do, you have to register your company with General Tax Authority. So in short, what you need to do is you get a Qatari person, get your name registered, get your CR, get your municipality license, get your computer card, and register with the Labor Department. get visa and register with General Tax Authority. Now we discussed about general incorporation. Now let's talk about special incorporation. In the special incorporation, the only difference is that you need to get a special approval from MOCI. For that, what you need to do, you need to submit a special business case with ministry for a permitted activity. So some activities are permitted under Ministry of Commerce for 100% foreign ownership. So once you get the approval, all other procedures which I have mentioned, like CR, municipality, computer card, visa, GTR registration, everything is same. Now, these are the permitted activities for 100% foreign investment. It's include industry, healthcare, education, tourism, energy, IT, consultancy, sports, recreation and cultural services, agriculture, mining, distribution service, and construction and development. Probably a few may not know about there are some prohibited activities for non-Qatari investors as well. So these prohibited activities include banking, insurance, commercial and real estate agencies. But you can see many people actually among expatriates, Indian, they are doing some real estate business, but that is not commercial or real estate agencies. What they do is leasing and subleasing the building, that is allowed. But banking, in direct investment, in banking, insurance and commercial and real estate agencies, which is not allowed. But how can you invest through, indirectly, how can you invest in this sector? You know that, as I mentioned, there is a Qatar exchange where what you can do, non-Qatari investors can invest up to 49% of the share capital of a listed company, including bank, insurance, and real estate sector. As far as the ownership of the Qatar exchange is concerned, GCC citizens are treated as same as Qatari citizens. That means they can have 100% ownership of the company. The second sector for incorporation is Qatar Financial Center. Qatar Financial Center actually established in 2005, and the main aim was to allow 100% ownership for non-Qatari investors. Until then, actually, non-Qatari investors were allowed only 49% shareholding. But this QFC has given an opportunity for the expatriates actually to invest in financial sector with 100% ownership. Some people treat QFC as a free zone, but QFC is not a free zone authority because income tax is applicable at 10%. And the only benefit as far as the taxability is concerned is that there is no withholding tax applicable for Qatar Financial Center companies. You know, the foreign companies actually, when they come to Qatar, they normally prefer Qatar Financial Center companies than Ministry of Commerce and Industry company. The reason is that English law is applicable in Qatar Financial Center. In Ministry of Commerce, Arabic law, the Qatar law is applicable. In QFC, the English law is applicable. The only condition for getting the license in Qatar Financial Center is to have an office in Qatar Financial Center approved buildings. There are more than 100 buildings are approved in Qatar Financial Center companies, and the legal setup available, there are many legal setup available, LLC, LLP, LLCG, branches, holding subsidiaries, trust, and family business. Qatar Financial Center is the only place you can set up a trust. Another recent facility which they have introduced recently is incorporation of a single family offices, which will help us to manage the net worth of the company on the interest of the family members. And you know that the companies, the institutions like CA chapter as well as IBPC, they are registered as LLCG. That means limited liability company by guarantee. There are two types of activities in Qatar Financial Center. The first one is regulated activities, and the second one is non-regulated activities. The regulated activities include the financial, banking and investment business, insurance and reinsurance, money market, money and asset management, fund administration, pension fund, insurance broking, financial agencies, custodian service, and operating a representative office. So representative office is coming under regulated activity. Non-regulated activities are any activities other than the regulated activities. For example, our business like auditing, accounting, tax, consultancy, shipbroking, company headquarters, trust, treasury operations, administrative offices, holding companies, and any other similar arrangements will be coming under non-regulated activities. But there are many other activities are being approved by Qatar Financial Center, but this will be known only after you provide your business case. So as far as the, we have talked about non-regulated activities. And when you are talking about process of incorporation, what you need to do is you have to give your business case for the approval. So once your business case is approved, we can go ahead with final application and the payment of Qatar Financial Center fees to get your license. Qatar Financial Center has a single window system. So all the processes, like what I said for Qatar Ministry of Commerce and Industries, like tax registration, computer card issuance, visa application, everything will be done through a single point of contact. So Qatar Financial Center has a single window system. Now let's talk about, we have already covered Ministry of Commerce and Qatar Financial Center. Let's talk about Qatar Free Zone Authority. Qatar Free Zone actually created in 2018 to promote international business and promote investment from the international companies in Qatar. So there are two free zones available in Qatar. That is Ras Bu Fandas, which is called Airport Free Zone. It is very close to the airport. And the second is called Al Hul. This is very close to the port, and it is also called Port Free Zone. And we have another one. Actually, it is not a free zone, but we are using this place for free zone companies' offices. That is called Musharraf Downtown. So Musharraf Downtown is also an approved space actually for the free zone companies' offices. And there are, we will get pre-built industrial unit, warehouses and land and all. It is for a long-term lease available for starting up these ventures actually in Qatar Free Zone Authority. The beauty of free zone is to have 100% foreign ownership and 10 to 20 years tax holidays. In free zone, there is 20 years tax holidays. Now you know that it is 2 years elapsed after Emiri decree. And if you start up a new company now incorporated in Qatar Free Zone, you will get 18 years tax holidays from now onwards. And similarly, Qatar Free Zone Authority is actually exempted from customs duty, that is import duty and export duty is not applicable for them, provided 100% is international business. So that means if you are having a business and once the product and goods are moved from the Qatar Free Zone Authority to mainland, in the Qatar customs duty, which is just exempted earlier, is applicable for those goods which are moving to the mainland. And for developing the Qatar Free Zone Authority, actually Qatar has put on around $3 billion fund specially dedicated for the Qatar Free Zone Authority. The only legal forms which is available in Qatar Free Zone is limited liability companies and branches. Because we have seen MOCI and Qatar Free Zone, there are different type of legal entities are available, but in Qatar Free Zone, it is only LLC and branches available. Companies can have their offices in Qatar Free Zone Authority with a minimum of 13 square meter office space. That means if you have, the rent will approximately come around 2,000 Qatari riyal. But if you have a real business case and a company which is wants to start up some international business, and definitely it's the right spot to start up the business with 13 square meter office space. And you know that there are many companies actually wishes to move from our business from MOCA and Qatar Free Zone, Qatar Financial Center to enjoy this 20-year tax holidays. But is it possible? The answer is no. Because the main principle for local companies who already have an establishment in Qatar to start up a company in Qatar Free Zone Authority is you cannot shift your business from mainland to Qatar Free Zone Authority. You can do it as a new company and as a part of expansion program. And the last, at least 50% of the business must be international business. So you are having a business in Qatar and you are having 100% business for Qatar and you want to shift to Qatar Free Zone, definitely it is not allowed. And also shifting is not allowed, but if you want to have an expansion program, you can start your business in Qatar Free Zone Authority. And these are the permitted activities. But even though they have listed some activities here, there are more activities they are permitting, including the trading activities. But the only requirement which they have is at least 50% of the business must be international business. The approved activities as per their list is sports, aviation, freight forwarding, cold storage, automotive, marine and aviation, pharma industries, chemical and manufacturing. The process of incorporation is same like Qatar Financial Center. What you need to do is you need to give a business plan and they will give you an initial approval, make a final application along with one-time application fee, then pay your annual fee, then you will get the license. Once you get the license, all other formalities like tax card, immigration card, application of visa, everything is same. But as Qatar Financial Center, you have a single window system in Qatar Free Zone also. You will have a single point of contact to do all these activities. We have 2 more zones. I'm sure that I'll be able to finish on time. Now we have fourth one is Qatar Science and Technology Park. So Qatar Science and Technology Park is also like Qatar Free Zone Authority, but QSTP is mainly focusing on the technology, research and development, and innovation. QSTP is located in Qatar Foundation Education City. And what you can do, companies can lease their premises, which is already available in QSTP location in Qatar Foundation, with a minimum of 45 square meter. So in Qatar Free Zone, there is only 13 square meter of his requirement is there. In QSTP, there is 45 square meter of his requirement. As Qatar Free Zone, QSTP also provide tax holiday for 10 to 20 years. So it is 10 to 20 years. The other one is blank 20 years. Here it is 10 to 20 years. There is no import duties and export duties in QSTP. The only legal form is allowed is LLC and branches. The main speciality of QSTP is incubation center. You must have heard about incubation center. What is incubation center? If you want to have a startup, even Qataris or resident entrepreneurs can submit their business solutions on research, IT, e-health, education, or supply chain optimization. You can have your application submitted with QSTP and you will be funded with required fund, and a dynamic ecosystem will be provided to scale up your operation. So the incubation process actually starts with application submission. So if you have a great idea, just give an application and you will be called for a personal interview. Once your idea is approved, you may end up with a lease agreement at free of cost. That means you will get a free co-working space and a subsidized business support services. You can also use free mentorship, free training, free workshop, and your project will be closely monitored by QSTP authorities. And to understand whether your project is successful and whether your successful factors are being met. That is a very important thing. So once QSTP authorities feel that your project is successful, it is feasible, your idea will be graduated. It's called graduation of idea. Then you can go for a company incorporation. You will get a permanent lease agreement from QSTP. So if your idea is not successful, your idea will be dissolved. The permitted activities are technology development, artificial intelligence, research and we have already the previous speaker spoke about artificial intelligence. They are giving importance to AI, research and development, value-added specialized manufacturing, technical education, technology-related consulting services, and new tech business creations and development. To support QSTP, there are 2 funds available actually in QSTP companies. The first one is the product development fund. It will be given for all the companies with at least 20% Qatari investors. So if you have an investor, Qatari investor with 20% share, you can apply for this product development fund. The second one is the tech venture fund. This one is available for anyone, local, regional, and international companies can use this venture fund benefit. The incorporation process, it is almost same as Qatar Free Zone incorporation, and there are few assessment criteria that is only different as far as QSTP authorities are concerned. So when you give the business case, the first criteria which they will check is the number of staff directly employed with research and development. The second one is how many nationals, Qatari nationals will be involved in the research and development. The final criteria they will have is the financial investment you are going to have in research and development and technology. The last free zone in Qatar is the Qatar Media City. Actually, Qatar Media City started in 2019. Qatar Media City is not fully operational. It is located in Mushairib downtown Doha. So we already have Mushairib downtown for Qatar Free Zone as well for the offices. Here, Qatar Media City is also located in Mushairib downtown Doha. The only legal forms available are LLC and branches. The permitted activities are radio and television broadcasting, press and distribution, newspapers, books and magazine, social media, data technology, and electronic media services, studios for bloggers and social media influencers, advertisement and publicity services, and participation in studios and research for development of the media product. Process of incorporation is same as Qatar Free Zone Authority and QSTP. Now we have already covered all these 5 business zones for the incorporation in Qatar. So before going to the final slide, just to have a comparison, let me speak about few other important investment areas. Now I have already mentioned about stock exchange, and we have a share market in Qatar. It's called Qatar Exchange. Non-Qataris investors, many people don't know even that non-Qatari investors are allowed to invest in Qatar, stock exchange. There are 48 companies and 2 exchange traded funds, and some treasury bills and bonds are actually being listed in Qatar Exchange. If an expatriate want to invest, they can invest in the stock up to 49% of the capital of the company, and the maximum fluctuations limit in shares per day maximum is 10% up and 10% down. So your funding will not be vanished in a day time. So maximum is allowed fluctuation is 10% up and 10% down. The market capitalization, the recent market capitalization is 600 billion, and there are 11 brokerage companies in Qatar. So if a person who wishes to invest in Qatar share market, he has to visit in Qatar Exchange and open an account, and you will get a NIN number called National Investor Number. With this NIN number, you can visit any of the 11 brokerage companies and open an account with this NIN number, and you can start your trading in Qatar Exchange listed shares. You will get username and password for online trading. You can start trading. So this is an important area which you can focus on. Other investment initiatives from the governments are Qatar Development Bank, which provide direct and indirect financing for mandated sector. There are few mandated sector that are giving facilities. Tauteen always come up with new business opportunities. Recently, they come up with 100+ investment opportunities in Qatar, and they're tying up with MOCI as well as Qatar Free Zone Authority to implement these projects. Finally, we have Manatak, which provides solid infrastructure for companies registered in MOCI, which I have already mentioned earlier. Now let's go to the conclusion as summary of what I have said. So the 100% ownership is applicable in QFC, QFZ, and QSTP. MOCA, yes, if you have an approval, you can have 100% ownership. Otherwise, you can have 49% ownership. Taxability, MOCA and QFC, you have 10% taxation. QFZ and QSTP, you have up to 20 years tax holiday. But MOCA, if you have a special approval, you will get a tax holiday up to 10 years. You are talking about legal structure. There are many legal structures available in MOCA and Qatar Financial Center. QFZ and QSTP, only LLC and branches are available. Withholding tax is applicable only in MOCI, QFC, QFZ, and QSTP. Withholding tax is not applicable. Withholding tax is 5%. Land allotment, MOCI is providing land through Manatak. QFZ has their own land and facilities. QSTP or their own land and facility. QFC is not providing the land allotment because the companies which they are focusing is the financial industries, financial sector companies. And in MOCI, you can do the incorporation anywhere in Qatar, but QFC, you can have incorporation in only in QFC approved buildings, 100+ buildings, and QFZ you can have in QFC zones, as well as QSTP, you have a separate zone for starting the business. And regarding the business plan, you need to have a business plan for QFC, QFZ, and QSTP. MOCA, you need a business plan if you want to have a special purpose company or special approved company. Regarding the minimum capital requirement, which I didn't mention earlier, there is no minimum capital requirement for any companies. I mean, any sector, MOCA, QFZ, QFC, and QSTP, there is no minimum capital requirement. 1 year back, actually, the minimum capital requirement for MOCA was 200,000. Now there is no minimum capital requirement. It's all depending upon the nature of business which you are going to do. And the percentage of business in Qatar, you can have 100% business in Qatar in MOCA, QFZ and QSTP. I mean QFC and QSTP. QFZ, you must have at least 50% international business. Regarding the incorporation time, from my past experience, MOCA normally take 1 to 2 weeks minimum. QFC, it takes like 2 to 4 weeks. QFZ, it takes normally 3 to 5 weeks. And QSTP, 1 to 2 months. But it can go up to 1 month to 2 months maximum for the incorporation of the companies in any of the sector. And that's all. I would like to conclude the presentation by thanking everyone for patiently listening to me. And I believe that my presentation was easy for the people to understand who wants to set up or initiate startups in Qatar. And definitely we already covered 8:30, so I don't have time to have a question and answer session. But you can reach me out in the below address for any inquiries, and you can call me as well. And thank you very much, Doha chapter, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, CSAG, for that. And to the members, just one small thing. We will have a lucky draw at the end of the session, so kindly hold on. We will just take 5 to 7 minutes more. And as Seji pointed out, we will not have question answers because I have around 12 to 15 questions, and they are very specific. And so what I'll do, I have noted down your names and questions. I'll be sending them to Seji, and his responses, I'll be mailing it to you. I would like to now go ahead with the vote of thanks session. And at the beginning, I would like to thank His Excellency Shri Deepak Mittal for gracing the occasion for us. And as usual, as always, he has been a pillar of great support for here in Qatar. And it was his idea to do one of the sessions on startups and ease of doing business. And I think we are grateful to him for giving us that idea. CA Dheeraj Khandelwal, thank you for motivating us with your opening address. Yes, we are all geared up to be part of the startup wagon wheel. ICI President CA Nihar Jambusaria, thank you very much, sir, for gracing the occasion and also stressing on the importance of CAs, role of CAs in startup success. Then I'd like to thank Sheikh Ahmed from Solution ERP also for supporting this event for us in terms of sponsorship. That was very kind of him. CA Rajiv Gupta from Flipkart, he stressed on the importance that startups can win with large corporations, and that was very interesting for all those young budding startup entrepreneurs there. That was something to take home. And again, CSAG, that was quite a detailed presentation. And let me tell you, you have a myth that you are not a good speaker. You are a good speaker. With this, I would like to give an outline of tomorrow's program. We have multiple sessions tomorrow, and we will have Varun Sridhar from Paytm, we will have speakers from Snapdeal, from Forum Synergies. So it's a galaxy of startup icons that will be there. So do tune in tomorrow. It will be an interesting session. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our gold sponsors, Aster Medical, ENY, Protivity, and Morrison VK and Partners. Our silver sponsors, KPMG, Creston SVP Chartered Accountants, Focus Softnet, and Oracle Solutions, and also our event sponsor, Solution ERP. With that, I will quickly move on to our lucky draw. We will select one winner out of those who had registered and are present here. So the moment the winner's name is displayed on the screen, I would request you to kindly unmute yourself or put in the chat box that you are there. We will give you a few seconds. If you're not there, I'm sorry, we will have to move on to the next winner, the next name that comes up in the lot. And so, yeah, I will share my screen. Yeah, just a second. Vignesh, can you give me a heads up that you are able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so as you can see, I have listed down the names of the members who had registered and who are eligible to participate.
English, the Excel,
the different screen.
Different screen is visible.
Different screen. Yeah, Dheeraj and Khandelwal and all this.
That's a different screen that is visible.
Okay, okay, just yeah, give me a minute. Is the
Yep,
correct screen
fine.
available,
Yeah,
visible now?
perfect,
Yeah,
perfect,
thank you.
perfect.
Sorry for that glitch. Sorry for that glitch. Like I was mentioning, I have listed down the names and I've put in the formula. So there are almost 150 participants who are eligible for this lucky draw. I have commented the formula and I'm going to remove the comment now. And here we should have our winner. All set? Okay. Our winner for today is Robbie Anthony. Is Robbie here? Quick.
Yes, he's there. Yep, he's there.
He's there?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, Robbie. You are a winner of a gift voucher, and that will be surely delivered to your doorstep from our XCOM team. And once again, thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, more than 150 participants till the end. I'm very, very grateful to you and hope to see you soon tomorrow. Thank you. Have a nice good night and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.